What's good, y'all? I'm Jerry, about to check out 10 wrestling moments everyone wanted but nobody liked. This video is about what culture wrestling. I'm not really sure what these moments are, so about to hop into this video, man. Let's go.
Everyone's guilty of relentlessly lobbying for something, then changing their minds overnight as
well, I can say Liv Morgan becoming SmackDown Women's Champion. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn winning the tag titles last year at WrestleMania, and nobody really cared about their reign as champions.
This is What Culture Wrestling, and here are 10 wrestling moments everyone wanted but nobody liked. Number 10, Kurt Angle's comeback. Kurt Angle's TNA run will never be appreciated the way it deserves. Why? Well, because countless fans at the time yearned for the Olympian to enjoy world-class matches on the WWE side instead. WWE brought
Kurt had some crazy matches in TNA.
And instantly did two things.
He didn't wrestle though.
Him into the Hall of Fame and made Angle Raw GM. The latter was viewed as a temporary step by fans.
Yeah, he should have wrestled during this time. Kurt could still go in the ring.
Jordan became Kurt's kayfabe son, and then his career wrapped up with that Baron Corbin match. Angle's second shot at WWE life was a complete disappointment. But let's add a bit of positivity to this entry, eh? What is your favourite Kurt Angle match/moment? Let me know in the comment section right down below. Number 9, obnoxious heel commentary. The last great babyface heel commentary pairing on WWE's watch with any tenure was Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler. Their banter was so great that it inevitably brought them closer together. Eventually, Lawler softened his approach and fans accepted it. Or did they? Those same peeps called for some edge behind the announce booth again. So WWE decided to try on Michael Cole as an obnoxious mug who delighted in tearing down the do-gooders. Admittedly, Michael went a little over the top and failed to find any balance between peak Paul Heyman and Bobby Heenan's whimsical jokes. In short, he never actually put faces over and opted to rip everyone to shreds even when it removed from the match or promo. Corey Graves does a much better job overall of skirting that fine line between knowledgeable announcer and cutting colour commentator who cheerleads the baddies. Number 8, Ronda Rousey rules the women's division, lighting up WrestleMania in a pressure spot with 3 Hall of Fame.
When she first came in, she was like the hottest thing in WWE.
Wrestling match cannot have been easy. Ronda Rousey showed off her skills doing just that in 2018 though, and many figured she
when she came back,
dominate WWE's
it wasn't the same
as a
no more.
likable wrecking machine for years to come. Fans lost interest in Rowdy Ronda as a dominant babyface fairly quickly. In fact, some had already made their minds up about Rousey by the time she squashed Alexa Bliss at that year's SummerSlam to bag her first Raw Women's title. The verdict was in, and it wasn't positive for this ex-UFC pioneer. A disconnect formed between Ronda and wrestling fans after that. She started hearing boos, didn't react to them very well, and never seemed the same once the blue came off that rose. Number 7, Warrior vs Hogan 2. Hulk Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 6 was a true collision of superheroes come to life. The same cannot be said for WCW's sequel. People love the concept of it though, to be fair. Eric Bischoff definitely gets a pass for booking Hogan vs Warrior 2 at Halloween Havoc 1998 on paper. It was 8 years removed from the Mania original, sure, but both men were still huge stars, and there was value in finding out what had happened second time around. Then, as they say, that darn bell had to ring. Warrior sucked, and 98 Hogan was not the dude to carry him to anything passable. It was pretty awkward actually. Number 6, Roman Reigns equals Royal Rumble winner.
Oh yeah, I remember that 2015 Royal Rumble. They booed the hell out of Roman that year.
Royal Rumble. Look back at the match today, and you'll hear rapturous support for one Roman Reigns as the 30-man match raced to a conclusion. Folks in Pittsburgh would have rather Roman won the thing than Big Dave, that's for sure. A full 12 months later though, folks in Philadelphia didn't feel the same way. Despite gauging fan reaction the prior January and having high hopes for Reigns anyway, WWE got quite a nasty shock when the audience rejected
The Rock
Roman.
couldn't even help him.
Not even The Rock raising his hand could stop the boos. This must have been confusing for everybody involved, but it's actually quite typical of us wrestling enthusiasts. We demand shiny new toys, then toss them from prams when they're delivered. Or maybe Bryan should have just won back-to-back Rumbles in 2014 and 2015, eh? Number 5, Triple H as top babyface.
Was it
Only
2002?
a fool could watch Triple H maraud down the aisle at Madison Square Garden on the 7th of January 2002 edition of Raw and dislike it. Hunter was jacked beyond belief, and some U2 inspired vignettes charting his painful rehab from a nasty quad injury the previous May helped whip fans into a frenzy and facilitate a killer babyface comeback. Shockingly though, post-MSG moment and popular Royal Rumble win, Tripp's entire baby run was a bit meh. He'd wrestled Kurt Angle again in a losing effort that was also
had matches against Undertaker, beat Chris Jericho at WrestleMania.
In a story opposite Chris
And once the summer came around,
title, and more about his
he turned on Shawn Michaels.
Triple H and Jericho bombed in the main event spot above Hogan versus The Rock. Hunter's babyface misery was complete when a revived Hulkster toppled him for the richest prize at Backlash. So much for a red-hot good guy run that everybody craved when Motorhead hit at MSG. Number 4, one more Shawn Michaels.
No, that sucked. That year sucked.
Left in the tank when he decided to retire following a
2018 sucked when they did that tag team match.
26. In interviews, HBK repeated the same line to increasingly frustrated journos looking for a big scoop. He'd never wrestle again, or so he claimed. Dream bouts opposite students like Daniel Bryan, or top workers such as AJ Styles were teased but never executed. Then money talked, and Shawn elected to make an in-ring comeback in a bumper tag outing over in Saudi Arabia at Crown Jewel 2018. And in retrospect, Michaels wishes he hadn't bothered. His DX reunion with Triple H versus Taker and Kane,
Shawn Michaels looks so funny without hair.
Wouldn't have worked even if Trips hadn't torn his pec mere minutes in. 8 years of begging for that. Number 3, Sting in WWE.
That sucked.
Fans in the 1990s were
if Sting would have won that match and had a decent run in WWE, it would have been a different story.
Inside. Discussion over exactly
if he would have beat Triple H at WrestleMania that year, his first ever WrestleMania.
WWE finally had the chance to find out when they eventually inked a deal with the Stinger in 2014. Taker didn't come into the equation, and hopes faded that it had ever happen. Now, with the dead man retired and Sting shortly following suit, it is an impossibility. Interest in Sting joining WWE hinged on one match, but Vince McMahon decided it wasn't right for his version of the WCW legend. One of the most elusive gets in company history, and someone fans had wanted to see in the WWF/WWE
they made it a
early 90s was finally
WCW versus
and he
WWE
lost 2 matches
story.
before vanishing again. Number 2, WCW invades the WWF. Fans were willing to overlook Shane McMahon becoming the new storyline WCW owner, and they were even content enough when mid-carders like Lance Storm and Hugh Morris began invading matches. But turning WCW with ECW in tow into some second-rate wannabe dominated by more McMahon melodrama was not. The Survivor Series finale in November 2001 was a mercy killing for an Angle already on life support. Then, annoyingly, the big stars fans had wanted,
they came in a year later.
Ric Flair, Goldberg, Scott Steiner, etc., started showing up one by one anyway. How rude, and what a missed opportunity.
That is crazy.
Bret Hart destroying Vince McMahon. Every would-be wrestling match has a shelf life. Had WWE been able to book Bret Hart versus Vince McMahon at any point between 1997 to 2002, then people would have been tripping over themselves to see the Hitman gain ultimate revenge for Montreal. Remarkably, despite coming years past its sell-by date, fans were still into the thought of Hart giving Vince his comeuppance at WrestleMania 26. But good God, did it suck. Bret wasn't allowed to take any bumps due to his long-running health problems,
concussion
and so he
issue.
awkwardly hammered a borderline defenseless McMahon around the ring with a steel chair. The beating was so one-sided that it almost turned Vince babyface by default, and that just shouldn't have ever been the case. Perhaps the only decent thing about it is that Bret was able to draw a line under his most miserable professional experience.
That's crazy.
And that is also our lovely list. I've been Gareth from What.
Alright, y'all, great video, man. Let me know down below in the comments what y'all thought of my reaction to this video. Like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.